Girls, our next topic is produces equilibrium. What do you mean by equilibrium? Already I told, isn't it? There is net tendency to move. That is the optimum point where they are getting the equivalence. That is equilibrium. If it is revenue is equal to expenditure, it's an equilibrium point. Demand is equal to supply. It will be an equilibrium point. While we have drawing the demand curve and supply curve, we will get an equilibrium point where demand and supply curve meets. So equilibrium is a point where the two inputs or two things which meet, and also there is no net tendency to move. Beyond the limit they cannot will to move. So that is equilibrium. Consumer's equilibrium already we have studied, and we studied the price line or the budget line we have studied, isn't it? After studying the indifference curve analysis, we studied the consumer's equilibrium. Here we are going to study the producer's equilibrium. That is, the other name for producer's equilibrium is optimum combination of two factors. So already I told while we are talking about the indifference curve, we talks about two goods. Here we are going to talk about two inputs. So the other name for producer's equilibrium is optimum combination of the factor of production, or else least combination of factor of production. These are the two names of other name of producer's equilibrium. So what is the optimum combination of factors? That means the output should be maximization for the given input, isn't it? Optimum combination means with a given input, the output will be maximum. Maximum output will be given with a maximum output should be given with a given inputs. Input எவ்வளோ கொடுக்குறாங்களோ அதை வச்சு maximum output கிடைக்கிறதுக்கு பேரு optimum combination, or else cost minimization for the given output. Either input given output வச்சு output maximum கொடுக்கலாம், இல்லைனா cost least cost of production with given output. Cost வந்து குறைஞ்ச combinationல cost minimization, minimum cost with maximum output. Minimum cost with maximum output is called optimum combination of factor of production. So what are the conditions for the producer's equilibrium? As we said, there should be assumption. The same way, there should be conditions for the producer's equilibrium. What are the conditions? First one, the isocost line should be tangent. Already I have drawn the isocost line. Have you remembered, girls? The isocost line I have drawn A, B, C, D, E. Isn't it? A, B, C, D and E. The point I told. Have you remembered, girls? The previous video we have. So this isocost line should be tangent, means in this manner. This is tangent. So the isocost line should be tangent. What is the second condition? And then on the point of tangency, the isoquant curve must be convex to the origin, and then our MRTS must be declining. Let me draw, then it will be easy for you to understand. This is isocost tangent. This is the isoquant line. So, only then there will be MRTS will be declining. So, at the point of tangency, the isoquant curve must be convex to the origin. Already we have studied, isn't it? Isoquant curve also convex to the origin, and thereby it must be MRTS should be declining. Now we are going to see here in the lesson we have studied only two variable factors. What are all the variable factors we have seen till now? Yes, labor and capital, isn't it? So the prices of the two factors, that is labor and capital, when it is given, the producer attain the equilibrium or the least cost combination of the factors where the isocost line is tangent. Already we have learned, isn't it? While he is using 4 number of capital, he will use only 0 labor, then it will be reduced, isn't it? We learn, have you remembered the tables there? So, by the combination, least combination of the least cost with the least cost, the combination of the two factors should be given the equal output, and then the isocost line is tangent to the isoproduct curve. So now we are going to see what is isoproduct curve and isocost line. Let me explain you with a diagram. In the x-axis, as we said, we are going to write the unit of labor. The y-axis, capital. Unit of capital, isn't it? So, the product curve and the cost curve. So, I am going to draw the product and the cost curve. And I am also going to draw the tangent curve. Isoquant tangent curve. I already told you it should not be, it is always, so the point where they are getting, this is equilibrium. So here also they are meeting one time, isn't it? So the meeting point, here it meets one time, or yes, here also P, U, but this point is considered to be the equilibrium point. Why? Beyond this cost line, they cannot produce, isn't it? It is not possible to produce in this line because the combination is not least. This is not optimum. The combination should be optimum. It should be utilized in an equal manner. We should not give much importance to one factor alone. It should equal importance should be given. So at the point of E only, the producer will get equilibrium. That is, the slope of isocost line is equal to the slope of isoproduct curve, or MRTS. What do you mean by MRTS? Already I told you. MRS we have studied, marginal rate of substitution. Here marginal rate of technical substitution of L and K, isn't it? Now we are going to study about labor and capital. L denotes labor, K denotes capital. So here the MRTC will be declining. This is the point, correct point where MRT is declining, or it will be equal. So, if we write MRTS is equal to L, P by L by P by K. That is price of the labor and the price of capital, or else production of the labor and the production of capital. If you given like this, the firm employs OM units of labor and ON units of capital. So here OM units of labor and ON units of capital. So it is applying OM units of labor and ON units of capital to attain the equilibrium. And then least cost combination or the optimum cost combination of the two factors. So this is denoted by isoquant IQ. So this is IQ isoquant line. Isoquant line. So the other point H, K or S is the remaining things. If you write it, this is H or S, K. What these are not the equilibrium points. Why? Because here we are giving much importance to labor, least important to capital. Isn't it? Sorry. Much important to capital, least important to labor. If you take this point, we are giving much importance to labor, least important to capital. So the combination of the two factors should be equal. Only then we will get the equilibrium point. Do you understand, girls? This is produces equilibrium. Then we are going to see the Cobb-Douglas production function. The famous economist Cobb and Douglas, they have given a production function theory. The theory is considered to be the very famous theory of Cobb-Douglas production function. So it is a specified standard equation to describe how much output can be made with the help of the capital and labor. So here I already told you the two factors which we studied in this are labor and capital, isn't it? L denotes labor, K denotes capital. So the two factors, the Cobb-Douglas function, W Cobb and Douglas production function. So the two factors, now we are going to see how much output can be made by using the two factors. And we are also going to study how it is used in the empirical studies of manufacturing industries and inter-industry comparison. Already I told you empirical means numerical, which can be measured in numbers. So if it is used, if you know the production function, you can easily came to know that how much the industry can manufacture, and the inter-industry comparison. Compare with the labor industries, labor intensive goods and capital intensive goods. That comparison also we can do. How much inputs they are making, how much outputs they are getting. So we can get the empirical value of using the inputs. And also the relation between the shares and capital. In the total output also determine, as we have studied, isn't it? Once they have 0 labor and 4 capital, then they have given equal 3. So we can see the sharing of, while we talk about the combination, we should know how the two inputs are sharing their contribution to get the maximum output, isn't it? Here they are getting the maximum expenditure. We studied isocon, and while we talk about the 30 rupees and 10 rupees oil, while we studied about the output, we have studied 400 meters of cloth, isn't it? So by using the combination, how we are getting the maximum output, the sharing of the labor and the capital can also be determined, calculated, whether we need more capital or more labor, which we need more. That also we can determine by studying the Cobb-Douglas production function. And then it is used in the analysis of economies of modern, developed and the stable nations. So the WGOB, who is an developed the Cobb-Douglas production function, he given this production function, something should be inspire him to make this law, isn't it? So he gave this production function when they have a study on the American industry, manufacturing industry. So it's a linear homogeneous product. That means the same homogeneous means a single product. For example, if it is a textile means they have taken two textile industries. One is one industries are labor intensive, one industry is capital intensive. So they have studied the least combination, how they are making inputs of the factors, which factor they are giving more importance, which input has given more contribution for the production function. So they analyze. So it's a linear homogeneous production function, and they also study the factors they can be substituted for one for another to get the extending. So what is the Cobb-Douglas production function formula? The formula Q is equal to, it's a famous one, girl, AL of alpha and beta. Here the Q refers to output. A refers to positive fraction or positive constant. Already we know L refers to labor, K refers to capital. This alpha and beta, it refers to positive fraction. This alpha and beta refers to positive fraction. This is a famous Cobb-Douglas production function is a famous theory, girls. The formula for Cobb-Douglas production function Q is equal to AL alpha and K beta. Here, if you calculate the beta, if you want to calculate, if you reduced alpha 1, for example, A plus B is equal to 1. Alpha plus beta is equal to 1. If you want to calculate B, 1 minus A, isn't it? A plus B is equal, alpha plus beta is equal to 1. If you want to calculate beta, 1 minus alpha is beta. Isn't it? And then A plus B 1 is equal to constant return to scale. Already we have studied increasing return to scale, constant return to scale, decreasing returns to scale. If alpha and beta is equal to 1, it is constant return to scale. If alpha and beta is greater than 1, alpha and beta is greater than 1, it is increasing return to scale. If alpha and beta is less than 1, decreasing return to scale. That is, using the combination. How they are using the two factors, combinations. So factor intensity can be measured by the ratio of beta by alpha. If you want to calculate the ratio, then you can calculate beta by alpha. And it is considered only the two factors, isn't it? The production function explains the proportionate increase in the factors. If the input increase, the output also increase in the same manner. That is constant. The input increase, the output also increase in the same manner as constant. So, plus beta is equal to 1, the Cobb-Douglas production function insists only on the constant return to scale. So they consider only the two factors, and also they have made a specific measure for the inputs, how much they are making the inputs and how much they are getting with the help of the inputs. And then as we studied the first, everything is applicable for Cobb-Douglas function also. That is, labor and capital. Production takes place only when both are employed. While we talk about labor and capital, we cannot keep one thing as a zero, isn't it? Both should be employed. How much they are employed and how much they are getting the output is a matter. Both factors should be included in the output, and both factors should be employed. One should not be idle. Both should be employed. By using the both combination, how they are getting the output is called Cobb-Douglas production function. And labor contributes 3/4 of the production. Usually, the labor contributes 3/4 and the capital contributes 1/4. So, the elasticity of substitution between the factors is equal to 1. What do you mean by elasticity? If there is a need of labor, they can increase the labor, they can decrease the capital. If they need the capital to increase, then they will decrease the labor. So, there will be a substitution. That is least combination. If we want to increase one, the another one automatically it has to be decreased. So, this is Cobb-Douglas production function. With this, I am winding up today's class. Tomorrow we will see what is law of supply, determinants of supply and other things, elasticity of supply. Thank you, girls.